What is going on, guys? I'm SceptileMC, George, the coach of your San Francisco Arcaniners, here to bring you my Season 6, Week number 5 match against the Tampa Bay Luxrays, the man, Monotooi, who is also now in our division. He went 3-1 after going on an impressive 3-game win streak, and we lost our last game, so we are actually tied for record in our division right now at 3-1, and the differential, I believe I am ahead, but not by much. So this is a very important game to determine the playoff picture in the future. So want to come out with a huge W in this game. And yeah, so let's get right on into the video. Guys, go check out his channel, by the way. It is in the description below. So let me get right on into this. So he decided to bring the Mandibuzz, the Emboar, the Garchomp, the Bronzong, the Azumarill, and the Lantern. Immediately, I'm thinking, okay, he doesn't have the Amoonguss, doesn't have the Excelgor, and he doesn't have his Mega, and his Mega is Manectric. So those are three Pokemon that I kind of expected him to bring, especially because Excelgor does outspeed everything, the Manectric does outspeed everything too, and the Amoonguss gets rid of Toxic Spikes, but as he does have access to Defog and the Heal Bell, so I am expecting both of those Pokemon to bring it. And I see the Azumarill, and I'm thinking, holy shit, Azumarill is such a giant threat to my team. But anyway, I do expect him to lead off with maybe his Bronzong or something like that. So what I decide to lead off with is my Fortress. I can get at my Rocks turn 1, and then I can go from there. I have Volt Switch for the initiative, of course. I have Explosion. If you guys want to see the team, it's in the team builder, which is also in the description down below. But he leads off with his Lantern, and immediately I'm thinking, you know what? I need to damage the Mandibuzz, and the best way I can damage the Mandibuzz passively is by getting up my Rocks, because he has to make a decision. He can either go for the Roost or the Defog against me. He either takes 25% or he leaves my Rocks up on the field. Right here, I decided, you know what, he's probably going to want to Volt Switch out now after going for Scald and not getting the burn. So I decided to go into Calgia so I can trace the Volt Absorb. If he was on the off chance he was Water Absorb, I would trace the Water Absorb, and if he went for Scald, I would not get affected by that. But right here, I know he's not going to stand, and he's probably going to go into Bronzong. So I make the prediction that he's going to go into Bronzong and go for the Trick. Now this play right here is going to be one of the most important plays of the match, actually. As me tricking this Bronzong really actually defeats, it kind of just destroys a portion of his wall core. And the Bronzong was a Pokemon that was able to check my Gardevoir, counter my Gardevoir completely, even though I do have the Shadow Ball. Me tricking away the Choice Scarf is great for me. Because I didn't see the Manectric, I didn't have really a problem tricking away my Choice Scarf, as I decide to switch out here into my Infernape as he goes into Lemon, which is his Azumarill. Now, Azumarill comes in, and I am instantly scared. I don't know what I want to do. Do I want to stay in and just go for the attack? Because I'm afraid of him being the Belly Jump. I decide not to. I actually decide to switch out into my Fortress right here because it is my defensive wall. It is my counter to Azumarill. Well, I can't say counter because nothing counters Azumarill, really. It's my check to Azumarill as he does reveal the Whirlpool. And immediately, I'm relieved. I don't care that it goes for the Whirlpool. I know the set he is now. He's a Perish Trapping set. And immediately, I just know I don't have to deal with Belly Drum. I don't have to deal with it. It's not something I have to be afraid of right now. And I see that I'm at half health, and I still want to have a decent amount of health. I still want to use this thing. I don't know if it's Whirlpool and Perish Song, and then like Waterfall and Aqua Jet or something like that. So I decided to go for the Pain Split right here. So he decides to go out into Lantern and get a huge amount of HP back, as he actually loses a lot of HP. So right away, thank you, Fortress, for just doing a lot of damage off to Lantern. That is a huge threat to my team right now. As I decided to go out into my Latias right here to take the incoming Scald or the Volt Switch, whichever he wanted to go for. I assumed he would go for Scald, that's why I didn't go out into Gardevoir. And he does not get the burn, which is great for me. And right here, I do decide to make a double switch because I didn't think he would want to stay in. And if he did, he would go for a Volt Switch right here. So overall, I did feel this was a very safe double switch. And I do have the Partial Berry as well, so even if he went for Scald, there was really no way this play could go wrong. So he decides to go out into Bronzong right here. Now, I make a questionable play. I do go for Toxic Spikes right here, and I don't know why I went for Toxic Spikes, to be honest. He does have the Mandibuzz, and I know I'm already forcing him to want to defog, as he reveals that he's going to go for the Earthquake. Now, right here, I decide that I know he's going to double switch out, expecting me to want to switch, and I stayed in because of that. And I went for Fire Blast. Now, the reason I went for Fire Blast, even though if I predicted a switch. I should have gone for Ice Beam. It would have been overall a better play. But I go for the Fire Blast because if he did decide to stay in, it was kind of like the safe in between. If he decided to stay in, then I would at least be able to get off a huge amount of damage on him, and he would get off an Earthquake on me, but I'm pretty sure I would 2-hit KO him using the Fire Blast. So I go for Ice Beam after hitting the Mandibuzz for a decent chunk with Fire Blast, and it looks like he's going to be able to outstall me here. I could continuously go for Ice Beam, but he is going to heal up. Now, I should have actually gone for Ice Beam right here, as he makes a very good prediction, expecting me to want to switch out. Now, he's going to go for a Defog right here, which is a very good play on his part. But I do get a free switch into Kaguya, which is my Gardevoir, of course. Now, Kaguya is going to trace the big pecs because my Gardevoir does have nice big pecs, if you did not know that. He's going to Defog right here. And immediately, I'm just like, okay, I'm assuming he's going to switch into Bronzong. That is the most expendable member on his team right now. It's the thing that was probably meant to check my Gardevoir anyway. So I'm assuming he's going to go into that. So I'm just going to fire off a Shadow Ball right here. It is a pretty obvious prediction, but it is, of course, the best play in my opinion. So as I take a drink of lemonade, I do go for the Shadow Ball as he goes into the Lantern, and judging by that damage, I'm assuming it's a physically defensive set, not especially defensive set, and it looks like I'll be able to KO with the Moonblast right here. I go for it, and I do take out the Lantern, so immediately I'm thinking, wow, so now if I go for a Toxic Spikes again, I can Toxic things, and I can get off, he can defog away the Toxic Spikes, but now he doesn't have the Heal Bell access. So he goes into Man-Bear-Pig right here, the Emboar, and immediately I'm thinking, okay, this thing's probably Choice Scarf then. I expected a Choice Scarf set really anyway, so I go out into my Latias right here as he goes for a Flare Blitz, and he actually reveals to me that he bluffed the Choice Scarf and is in fact a Life Orb set, because that does a whole butt ton of damage to me. And I'm just thinking, you know what, I still can just wall this thing. I'm not concerned. He does have the Sucker Punch, but I do have the Recover, or the Roost, whichever one it is. So I can just go for that right here. He can't go for Sucker Punch against me. He would have to. If he went for Head Smash right there, I would think, wow, he's a Lord. And probably would have KO'd me, to be honest. But I go for the Recover right here. And I'm just going to heal up my Latias back pretty much up to full as he goes into the Bronzong right here. Now, I do not want to get Toxic, but I do have the Shadow Ball, and I was thinking about this play for a little bit, and I'm thinking, you know what, he probably has a Toxic. I'm going to switch out into my Iron Nut right here, and he decides to go for his Rock. So, nice little in-between play on his part. If I went for Shadow Ball, I probably could have taken out the Bronzong right there, but the Bronzong is more of just a pivot for him right now. It's not really doing anything too offensive against me, and I decide that after going into Fortress that he's probably going to want to go out into either the Garchomp, to stop a Volt Switch, or to go for a Fire Blast against me, or he's probably going to go out into the, like, a Zoomerl or something. And I do have max defense on my Snorlax right here, so I'm not too concerned about either the Azumarill or the Garchomp, and I do have the Ice Punch. So what I decided to do right here is just go for an Ice Punch, and I look at this damage, and I'm just like, holy shit, this Azumarill is so fucking bulky. Like, even though it's resisted, it's not stab, but really, I max attack Adamant Nature with 110 base attack. That should not be doing that little. So that does reveal that he's an extremely bulky spread. And decided right here that I'm just going to switch out. I'm not too worried about it, but I do have my Iron Nut in the back if it comes down to it. If he goes for, like, a Play Rough or something, he's taking Rocky Helmet damage. If he goes for a Whirlpool, which I do expect him to do, then I'm sorry. I just got kind of sidetracked for a second. If he goes for the Whirlpool right here, I can go for a Pain Split, which is what I do, and he does reveal the Perish Song right there. So I'm still not too concerned because I do have the Volt Switch. But what this actually means is that right here I decided that I'm going to go for my Stealth Rock. So I don't want to reveal the Volt Switch yet. I don't know why I don't want to reveal it, but during the game I just kept thinking, let's not go for it yet. Let's not go for it yet. I think what I'm trying to do is lure the Mandibuzz into coming in so that when he wants to defog me, he can't. I just Volt Switch out and get initiative with that. I get a nice little chunk of damage off. But he goes into the Garchomp right here. So, pretty good play on my part, I guess. Not going for the Volt Switch right there. But right here, I decide to switch. I don't have anything to hit this thing except for Explosion, and I want to save my Explosion for the end game if I can. And he reveals that he is a substitute set. Now, this is really scary for me because I don't see an item. I still don't see an item, and Garchomp behind a sub is very scary. It actually caused me to lose the D-League Season 2 playoffs, a substitute Garchomp. So, immediately I'm thinking, okay, he's either going to go for a Swords Dance, or he's going to try to do a lot of damage to me. And I go for Ice Punch. Obviously, it's the safest play right there. And it takes out the sub as he goes for Earthquake. Now, judging by the damage, I'm pretty positive I can take another Earthquake. So, what I decide to do right here is that I'm actually going to fire off a Body Slam. If he wants to substitute up again, then I'm pretty sure I can break a sub with a Body Slam. Okay, sorry. I had to burp, but I didn't actually burp. It's weird. But I go for Body Slam right here, which is, in my opinion, a good play on my part because he goes into Man-Bear Ping. I do actually get the Paralysis, and I do a huge chunk of damage to him. So, right here, I should have gone out into my Latias because the Sucker Punch was an extremely obvious play. Or should have just done anything else that just would have preserved my Snorlax a little bit better, but I do let my Snorlax take the Sucker Punch, and he does die to Life Orb damage. So the Man-Bear Pig does actually go down. That is a huge threat gone immediately, which is great for me, as my Body Slam does go off for no reason. I did have the Sleep Talk as well on this thing, as you guys saw in the Team Builder. What is wrong with my headset? Oh well. He does decide to go 2 out into the Garchomp right here. I'm not going to take the risk of him going for a substitute as I switch out. So I'm just going to 2-sack off the Snorlax right here, going for an Ice Beam, an Ice Punch. It's the safest play. It's the best play in my opinion, so I don't really have any reason not to. So I decide right here, I am going to go into Latias, and I am just going to fire off an Ice Beam right here. I do have Ice Beam over Dragon Pulse because I do not have any special attack investment, and just overall the damage output from the Ice Beam onto the Garchomp is more than Dragon Pulse, even with the stab, I believe. So, go for Ice Beam. It doesn't do anything to the Bronzong. I didn't expect it to do anything if he switched out, but can't really play too dangerously with the Garchomp. It's a huge threat to my team. And he makes a double switch right here. And you guys see us staying. I do actually have the Shadow Ball on this set, mainly for the Bronzong, so I do go for Shadow Ball right here. And he's going to go out into Azumarill, and just the damage on this Azumarill is so annoying. It's just so bulky, and it just did like 10% to him. Of course, I don't have any special attacking investment, but I'm still a Latias. And this Azumarill is just causing me a few issues. I am wearing it down. It doesn't have any reliable recovery except for rest, if he does have the rest on this set. I decided right here I'm just going to switch back out into my Iron Nut. I'm still not sure what other moves he has. I have seen the Whirlpool, but I haven't seen anything. I have seen the Parasong as well, but I haven't seen a Play Rough, a Knockoff, etc. I'm assuming he has one of those attacks, so I decided to switch out into my Iron Nut right here, bringing me down pretty low on health, actually. So what this means is that I have to go for a Pain Split right here. I have to go for something along those lines, and I do decide to go for Pain Split as he makes a switch out into his Garchomp again. So this Garchomp, he's probably expecting me to want to Volt Switch out to get out of the Whirlpool, but Pain Split is just overall my better play, so I do get recovery on my Fortress. And I bring him down to a point, and I see this, and I'm like, he can only go for one more substitute. I haven't revealed an attack that can take out the substitute yet, so I'm going to go for Explosion on this turn. And he reveals the Salac Berry. Now, this was a huge play. And if I did not explode right here, I actually lost the game. I actually got completely swept by this Garchomp if I did not go for an Explosion. So, overall, extremely happy that I went for Explosion right there. I did not expect a Salac Berry. I didn't even think about it at that point. I expected like Yachi Berry or something like that, or maybe even the Dragon Berry, so he could take out my Latias after I go for Draco or something. But I do have Bandit Ape in the back, so if he had gotten up the Substitute and the Salac Berry, it was game, because I cannot kill this thing with anything except for my Mach Punch at this point. So I go for Mach Punch right here, and I take out the Garchomp. So that's a huge threat out of the way. That thing had the potential to sweep my entire team right there, and just the Fortress was able to pivot around his entire team phenomenally, and then eventually just exploded and at the perfect time. So I decided to switch out here into my Kaguya. I do think he's going to want to go for a Defog. Turns out right here, he actually decides to go for a Roost, I believe, as I do trace the big pecs. My God, if are showing off the big pecs right here. Decides to go for the Roost over the Defog right here. So now that the Emboar is gone and the Garchomp is gone and the Azumarill is revealed to be a more bulky spread, I'm pretty confident in this game. I feel like I don't need to make any bold predictions that could cost me. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to make pretty safe plays from here on out. I'm going to continuously go for Moonblast. I'm not going to go for Shadow Ball in case he wants to actually try to predict that and stay in or whatever. But right here I'm thinking he's probably going to go for Gyro Ball or the Earthquake, expecting my Infernape to come out. So what I'm going to do is switch out into my Latias right here, expecting that. He makes a good prediction, expecting my switch, and goes for the Toxic against me. So goes for Toxic onto my Latias, as you see right now. It's unfortunate, but again, I said I'm pretty ahead in this match right now, so I don't see too much concern with just making the simple plays. But right here, I do not expect him to want to stay in. I did reveal the Shadow Ball already, so what I'm actually going to do is just make a double switch out, expecting the Mandibuzz to want to come out. Well, I did reveal the Ice Beam. If he's a special defensive spread, he can actually take a lot of Ice Beams off my Latias because I do not have any special attack investment. And I take Rocks on my Kaguya. Trace the Levitate this time, which is pretty good for me. I guess not really too important in the end, but he does actually switch out into his Mandibuzz, so I do make that nice little double switch right there. And again, that gets Rocks off on the Mandibuzz, so that's 25% down, so now he's at 75%, and he has to make a choice. Will he stay and expect me to go for Shadow Ball and go for like a Defog or something here, or is he going to switch out into Bronzong? And I'm just going to make the safe play. I'm going to fire off a Moonblast. I don't have a reason not to. The Bronzong has no way of recovering. I'm just whittling it down bit by bit. He takes Rocks, and then I see the Moonblast damage, and I'm thinking to myself, can I take him out? Can I take him out using the Shadow Ball? I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk that. I don't want him to be some random max special defensive had a chance to not kill, I feel like, from that range. So what I decide to do is just make the switch out. It's the safest play I could do, and I decide to go into my Infernape. I know he's not going for Earthquake. He's just going to go for a Gyro Ball right here, and if he wants to make another Toxic play, he can. I do go into an Infernape expecting the Gyro Ball, though. I am fast, but it's resisted, so I don't expect it to do too much. I'm just going to go for a close combat right here, just so I don't get the Flare Blitz recoil, and we're just going to take out the Bronzong with a Choice Banded close combat. So now he has only 2 Pokemon left to deal with me. It is the Mandibuzz and the Azumarill. Now, the Azumarill, I still haven't seen its last 2 moves. I don't know what its last 2 moves could be, but I decide right here that I'm just going to smack him around with close combat. I'm Banded. It's going to do a lot of damage anyway. It doesn't do that much, but it does a decent amount. And I just don't want him to make a prediction or something that could bring him back. Reveal some random-ass move that could bring him back that I just didn't know about. I don't know. I just made the safe play. Just attack the Azumarill. Don't want him to get off like a Belly Drum or anything. Maybe he's rests with Chesto and Belly Drum, even though I saw lefties. But I just went for close combat there. Now I go out into Captain right here. If he has the Sleep Talk, that means he is the Whirlpool Perish Trap Rest Sleep Talk set. So even with the Passion Berry, I could take that phenomenally. He decides that his Azumarill is worth keeping though, so he's going to try to switch out into his Mandibuzz right here as I just fire off a Sludge Wave. It's just the most obvious play I can make, and I go for Sludge Wave, and it's going to easily take out the, not take out the Mandibuzz, except put it in a range where another Sludge Wave could take him out, or I could just go for Ice Beam to take him out. And I do believe right here, just in case it was a roll and I get a really mid-roll against him, I decided just to go for Ice Beam right here, because we did see that if he goes for the Roost against me, that he can actually stall out my Ice Beams. So go for Ice Beam, take out the Mandibuzz, and then he goes out into Azumarill, and Nidoqueen's going to pick up the final kill of the game right here with the Sludge Wave. So that was a good game, Chris. Monotooi, Tampa Bay Luxrays, very good game. The Garchomp set, if I didn't explode there, I just would have gotten swept. I really just would have gotten swept by a Garchomp right there. So overall, really good game, bro. It was a 4-0 in my favor, but the score doesn't reflect how close it was in my opinion, considering that the Garchomp really could have swept if I didn't explode. And I didn't expect a Salac Berry. I saw the substitute set. I guess I should expect the Salac Berry if I see a substitute set with no item. But overall, very good game, and we go to 4-1 while he drops to 3-2. So we move up to first place in our division again, even though we were first, but now we have a little bit more leg room, let's say, with that. So guys, that is going to be the end of the video. If you did in fact enjoy it, I'd really appreciate it. Comment, like, rate, and subscribe. Leave a like for the Arcaniners Nation. We're now 4-1. And yep, so without further ado, I am SceptileMC, the coach of your San Francisco Arcaniners, and peace out.